your chair and just get to a place where you won't hit your chair and swing and twist. Good. Good. And then just coming to a still point. Our feet, and just notice where they're facing and now point them forward. And inhale. And as you exhale, side bend. And only go down as far as feels okay in your body. Inhale up. And exhale, side bend. And you're just going to go side to side, going slowly, feeling the texture of your clothing beneath your hands, noticing what amount feels okay. And is it different on one side than the other? Good. Okay. Let's come up to the center now. And we're going to come in front of our chair seats. Okay. And we're going to see how it feels to round the spine. So if you have low back issues and rounding the spine bothers it, you're probably not going to do this very far. Okay, so you're going to go slowly, and I'll show it first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to exhale, and I'm going to tuck my chin and start to round the spine and see what amount feels all right in my body. You can take more than one breath. And maybe I come all the way to the chair. Maybe it doesn't bother my back at all. Or maybe I just come to rounded shoulders. Or maybe I even come to the floor. And you can bend the knees, of course. And then I'm going to press into the feet and roll back up. I really want you to pay attention to how this feels in your back and really don't go into any pain, okay? So you're rounding the spine, going down, and you're bending the knees to come up. Now, let's pause at the top because maybe I should have mentioned this first. If you're dealing with osteoporosis in your thoracic spine, a lot of times what tends to cause little fractures for people is if they're lifting something heavy like this, rounded, right? And so they lift something heavy and they're rounded, and because the bones are weak, a fracture can happen. It's one of the most common places for a fracture. You may or may not know if you have osteopenia or osteoporosis, and you might not know where it is. A lot of times people have it in there, around their hips, in their femur bone or their hip joint too. And so this wouldn't affect that directly. So I don't want to bring any fear into it because there's no bad movements, but I want you to know about that. So that's one of the reasons why I often teach you, when we're bearing weight, we're moving like this, right? But rounding the spine is not bad. It just sometimes we're already rounded, right? There's a lot of people, as we get older, we're more like this, right? So we work a lot on opening. But I don't want you to think it's bad, right? So let's try this now. Let's take the feet wide. And can you place your hands on your thighs? And if this is too much for your legs, you could always use a chair too. And I'm going to do cat and cow here. So I'm going to inhale. How much can you draw the shoulders back and arch the spine? And then exhale, tuck the tail under and round. And repeat. Now, if this feels awkward in your body to be on your feet doing it, you could also do this in a chair, right? So if you're, you got some knee stuff going on, just do it like this, okay? So chair or squatting. And figure out, where do you live? Do you live here most of the time, this rounded position? A lot of people do that I work with. And then how does it feel to go here? Okay, now let's stand. Good. So when we were standing up and down from the chair, we were using this neutral spine, right? And this is how we want to lift. So when you're going around your house and you're getting things off the floor and cleaning up, are you typically doing this to pick things off the floor, right? Most people are. So can you practice squatting and picking things off the floor? And you can try that right now. You could throw something on the floor and you could try squatting, keeping neutral. So not going like this to squat. See, I'm rounding. Can you stay neutral? Pick it up, right? Yeah. So the more you can practice this, you don't want to overdo it if you have knee issues, but the more you can practice this, you'll strengthen the legs, which will support you when you're lifting heavy things. Okay, so when we're lifting heavy things, we don't want to be like this. Okay, we want to be like this. Yeah. Good, you guys. Awesome. All right. Let's let that come down and let's do another yoga pose. We'll move our chair a little bit out of the way. Stand at the back of your mat. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, let's step the right leg forward, warrior one. Let's take the feet hips distance apart from one another. Back heel is on the floor. Hands can come to hips if that feels okay. And inhale, straighten the front leg. And let's exhale, bend the front knee. Good, and again. Now notice where you're looking with your eyes. Can you take your gaze a little higher on the wall ahead of you? And now everybody, let's take the arms out to the sides like this, palms forward, so that your chest opens up. And then if you're able to, you might take your gaze, like it might throw off your balance a little bit, but it might not. Just take your gaze a little higher on the wall ahead of you. What's happening in your back foot as you're bending and straightening, and your back ankle and calf? Good. Now, next time that you bend, let's take the hands to the thigh. Yeah, and still stay straight. Good. And now bend the back knee a little bit. And then straighten it. I'm keeping the heel down. Your heel may or may not stay down as you bend and straighten the back knee. And it's just a tiny bend. Do you see how I'm not bending very much? Good, two more. So we're working into ankle mobility here, as well as when we bend the knee, we stretch a different calf muscle than when the leg is straight. Good, now the next time you are in the most comfortable place for you, inhale, and exhale, let's step forward. Stand for a moment, just noticing the two sides of your body. Inhaling and exhaling. Noticing your 2 feet on the floor, how they feel. And also the 2 lower legs, how they might feel differently. Okay, let's walk toward the back of our space. Inhale. Exhale, let's step the left leg forward, warrior one, separating the feet hips distance. And then inhale, straightening the front leg. Exhale, bend. Arms can be where they feel best, whether it's hips or sides. And just repeating. And as you do this, you might find you want to adjust where the feet are. Feel free. And I can't see everybody's front knee, which is fine, but you'd want your front knee when you do bend to be, see how mine's over my ankle right here, rather than over the toes, not because going over the toe is bad, but it might put pressure on your knees. And also that's just not the pose we're doing. Okay. That's just a different thing. Okay. I want you to just, know that there's no essentially bad movements, but sometimes there's movements that are not necessarily good for your own body on a particular day, if that makes sense. I don't want you to ever be like scared of certain movements. Okay, next time you bend, let's stay there. And this time, could we interlace? So bend the elbows, and I'm interlacing my fingers behind my back, and then putting my knuckles on my sacrum here, the back of my pelvis. And inhale, rolling the shoulders back. And I noticed that I wasn't engaging my glute muscles. So when I did that, because my hand's back here. So can you engage that back glute muscle? Good. And now could you take your gaze a little higher on the wall in front of you? So the chin might lift a little bit. And you're breathing, right? Good. And now we'll release those hands, placing them on the front thigh, not leaning over too much, just kind of putting them there for support. And we'll try that bend of the back knee a little bit and straighten, seeing how this side feels. And we're attempting to have that back heel stay on the floor as you do this. It may or may not be happening, but that's kind of the idea we're going for, is back heel working toward floor, staying on floor. I'm getting into more ankle mobility. Good, one more. Good, and then you can release, inhale, exhale, step forward. Good, noticing the two sides of your body, and imagine you're still balancing something on the top of your head. So you're really reaching upward with your head as your shoulders relax, inhaling and exhaling. Good. And now just little bounces. So knees bent. And my heels are just lifting a little bit. If you wanted to, you could also leave the floor completely as you bounce. It's totally up to you. But my joints are soft. I'm not trying to keep anything stiff, right? I'm soft and bounce, bounce, bounce for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stop. Good. Let's inhale as we reach our arms out to the sides. You can go up as well. You might even touch palms. And exhale, let's draw the hands down in front of the chest. Let's do 3 more. Okay, your own timing. Can you pay attention the entire time? Good. This last time, palms in front of chest. If you want to, you could let your head bow down and your shoulders relax. But let's keep eyes open. So if you're bowing your head, just looking down at your fingertips. And now let's feel the breath expand, and you might even see it expand in your torso. Good. And now feel the difference between taking your chin parallel to the floor, so your eyes look forward. And just letting arms come down. We're going to come in front of the chair seat again. And just inhale, reaching your arms up. Exhale, hinge at the hips and fold. Good. Now, when you do this, now we're looking for our neutral spine. So you can imagine, and you can always do this sometime in front of a mirror so you can actually look and see. That means not like this, right? So in order to, if you're like this, which many of you are right now, can you bend your knees, everybody, and reach your spine forward? So now, do you see my shoulder blades are away from my ears? Yeah, that's better. That's better. Yes. Okay, so this is neutral, not because the other one is bad, but because this is what we're working on. And because most people, as we get older, we get a little more rounded, okay? And for the other reason, to practice when you're lifting, okay? So you're here. We're gonna stay here, not necessarily reaching your chin forward, but you could imagine you're trying to reach your chest forward. So like if you had a flashlight on the center of your sternum, you were trying to point that forward rather than down and in toward your belly button. You're trying to point it forward, okay? So really work toward that shoulder blades down back. Yeah, and if you can't get there, some of you are still rounded. If you can't get there, bend your knees more so you can. Okay, good. And now we're going to come on, and you might need to readjust where your feet are. Everybody first pull the toes up off the floor, balls of feet stay down. And then come onto the pinky toe edges of your feet. So you're rocking outward. And then on the big toe edges, all while keeping, let's see, hang on, let me adjust this. All while keeping the toes pulling up. So now we're going like bow-legged and knock-kneed. Bow-legged and knock-kneed. And of course, if any of the position hurts somewhere in your ankles or your knees or your hips, you are not doing it, okay? You're making it smaller. You're doing what you can. And we're staying with our spine or our chest reaching forward as though we had a flashlight on the front of our sternum, trying to shine it in the wall ahead of us. Good, a couple more. Good, okay. Now coming to just feet on floor. Inhale, reach spine forward. Now imagine you're lifting something heavy, okay? So we're gonna exhale, weight back to the heels and stand. Good, inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, bring the arms down. Good. All right, so we've got this chair seat in front of us, and we're going to try something different. I'm going to take the feet, so the right foot is slightly, let me see. That's not going to work. Let's just take the right foot slightly in front of the left. We'll do that one next week, the other one. Good, and then inhale. And as you exhale, bend the front knee, lean forward to the chair, and see if you can take the back top of the foot on the floor. Just see if that'll work. And this might be as far as you go, right here. Or you might be able to come down. It really depends on your knee and your foot, okay? And then we're gonna try the other side, so you can use your chair and bring it back up. So we're stretching the top of our foot in the process, okay? And bend the knees, take the top of the other foot to the floor and take it back a little bit. And you know, if you wanna land on a blanket, you could do that too. Or you just don't go all the way down if you know you can't bear weight, and then come back up. And just try it both sides again. Good, stretching the top of your foot. Right, you can also try it without your hands, absolutely. All right, if you don't need them. Good, and then stay down there, okay? Come onto your bottom. You can get a blanket or block to sit on for a moment. And let's try crossing the right ankle in front of the left. So right ankle crossed in front of left ankle, and we're going to be on the pinky toe edges of our feet here. Okay, and you can have a couch behind you if you know you round a lot when you sit. And then you can try to, so I got the pinky toe edges, you can try to take the knees out, but can you stay on the pinky toe edges of your feet so my toes are pulling back, just like when we did that wobbly cowboy one, knees out, knees in. And it might not look like this, it might look like this. That's okay. I don't want you to go into any knee or hip pain. So you might need to just be up here and then maybe go a little way, not all the way. Okay. And there was one more thing I was going to tell you. Okay. It'll come to me maybe. Now cross the left ankle in front of the right. And this might be different, especially if you have one side injured. And you're just going to be on the pinky toe edges with the toes pulling back. So you're not letting your ankle sickle like this and fall down. You're keeping those feet active. Good. Good. Now let's take the soles of the feet together. They can be any distance from your groin. And let's be on the pinky edges of the feet still. Your hands can be behind you or in front. And we're doing the same thing. Kind of coming up and down. You don't have to come all the way up. It's just like a part way up. And then the amount down that, of course, doesn't hurt anywhere. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. You know, I know you guys are very nuanced in your feelings of pain just because you've been around, right? Like I've told you before, when I work with teenagers, they think any kind of stretching pain is the worst pain they can't even imagine. That's stretchy, like if they stretch their hamstrings, they just like die with pain. So that pain, so to speak, if you consider it pain, is different than a twinge of pain in your knee or a nerve pain running down your leg, right? And so deciphering the difference, or a deep ache from arthritis, right? So deciphering the difference and knowing what pain or sensation is okay in your body that won't cause I don't know, a sense of fear in the brain or inflammation later. Okay, so really getting to know the nuances of sensation. Good. Okay, next time you bring the knees up, let's bring them all the way up and just stretch them, legs out in front towards straight. And again, being up on something can help. And I'm just bringing them in and out. Another way you could do this is you could, especially if you're tight, and take your strap. A stretchy strap is really nice for this, but this can work too. And you just kind of straighten the legs. And now let's keep them straight. And so you see what I'm doing? You don't have to have a strap, but it can be nice. And what I'm going to do is I'm pulling against it as I lift my chest and find neutral with my spine, so I'm not like this, right? I'm attempting to be here, which what might mean I need my couch or wall behind me, or it might mean that I just bend my knees a little bit. See that? So if I'm really tight, I might bend my knees and find neutral here. And then I might slowly be able to get a little straighter. Good. So wherever you are, either here or you might be, for some of you that are more flexible, you might be hinged forward at the hips and taking a few breaths. Let your neck relax. In fact, you can get a nice spine stretch by taking the chin down towards your chest if it feels okay. I'm just kind of noticing. Let's take 2 more breaths. Good. Now, if you are leaning forward, take your time coming out. A couple of breaths. You might reach up first with the chest and then slightly come up. Great. We'll come onto our backs. You can use the chair if you want or not. We're coming into Shavasana. I'm going to use the chair for me. Get anything you might like for support. Good. Actually, let's do this. You might want warmth. You might want something over your eyes. It can be really nice to take your legs, to elevate your feet and legs in this way. As you know, when your legs and feet are tired or have any inflammation going on in them, lifting them up can be helpful, right? And legs up the wall is a great pose too, but for some people that's really hard on the hamstrings. So legs over the chair can be nice. Just see if you can take a sigh. And as you do so, let go of as much effort as possible. And now noticing how you feel, just like we did at the beginning of our practice. How do you feel physically? How do you feel mentally? How does your breath feel? How does it feel to just be, rather than thinking or doing anything, to just be here right now in your current experience?